Team, welcome back to the channel. Jujubear here. Now, finally going to be getting into a battle of my own here. I've been doing a lot of the Risk tournament and other players' battles. So I'm finally going to be getting into a match that I played, and it is my great pleasure to bring you a build that I've been having some success with recently. I find I'm bringing this whenever an opponent brings a roam build. Especially one that is fairly good. So this player is from the Zeal clan. His name is Mastodon 1090 or something like that. So I knew this would be a fair bit of a challenge, knowing that he'll be, half decent at least. He's got a couple of hours. Now, this build is real weird. So I'm mainly focusing on the late game. I'm really not hoping to win the prior engagements. I'm just hoping to soften up a lot of targets around the battlefield and then tear them apart at the end. So what I've got 4 of these Eastern Slingers at the front, 6 of the BAKTRIA Hillmen, mainly going to be using their precursors as their killing power. I've got my general as an Indian armored elephant. Don't know if that was the best decision, but whatevs. These guys are going to be hopefully wrecking a lot of units at the mid game and the early game. Got an Eastern Spearman because I had leftover funds. I've got a BAKTRIA Horse Archer, one of them over here. I've got 4 BAKTRIA Noble Horse as well. So the BAKTRIA Noble Horse, their job is to defend my skirmishes. The BAKTRIA Hillmen, their job is to hold down a lot of units, get into combat, just hold them down for a bit while my elephants come in and do a bit of wrecking, hopefully. Now, my opponent has a lot of these velites, well, 2 of them to be exact, and I'm going to have to hope to maybe avoid precursors from those guys getting onto my elephants. He's also got a couple of these gladiators, auxiliary infantry, eagle cohort, armored legionnaires, and gladiator spearmen. So an unorthodox Roman army, which is pretty cool. I always like seeing people experimenting with weird builds. He's got a Soci Equites Extraordinary and 2 legionary cav, and of course a Legatus general. So out in the flank, I was bringing a BAKTRIA Horse Archer out. I did get a couple of good shots on these guys, taking out one of these legionary cav. And it looks like he's going to be able to come over here and scream with his gladiator spearmen. Not a bad idea. I do have my 3 BAKTRIA Raw Noble Horse out in this flank. Ooh, yeah. And this is actually my killing power, my late game tool. Hellenic Cataphract and a BAKTRIA Horse Archer. These guys are going to be crucial to the end game. And let's just see if I can kind of make this work for myself. Eastern Slingers moving up, giving themselves plenty of time to shoot into different targets around the place. I really want to get rid of the enemy mobility. So what that means is I'm going to get rid of his cavalry, and I want to get rid of these velites as well. So coming in, I'm going to do a 1-2 punch. Going to bring in these BAKTRIA Noble Horse, get into these velites, and also the Eagle cohort, and I'm going to bring it up with these BAKTRIA Hillmen in the end as well. So all engagements are going to be okay. I'm just hoping to hold up my opponent for a little bit, get my BAKTRIA Noble Horse out of there before they take too many losses, which is good. And I've now got him locked up, and he's unable to get precursor volleys in. So Indian armored elephants smacking into the back of my own men. Not the best start to this engagement. My BAKTRIA Hillmen are already starting to shatter in the center. So it just shows how flimsy they are. But it just means I have a bit more time with these Eastern Slingers to kind of fire in here and take out different targets. You can see that I'm trying to take out his Soci Equites Extraordinary. I'm desperately trying to click attack orders with my elephants and get them into this glob of units before they can turn around and get a precursor volley in. I do have my BAKTRIA Noble Horse coming around this flank because I noticed that he's got a lot of cavalry out on this side. So I'm going to get in here, just lock them down, see if I can take these cav out of the fight before they have too much of an effect on the battle. Indian armored elephants racking up, oh, this is embarrassing, 10 kills. Horrible stuff. They're out of control. And I haven't been able to get them into the right units. So they're kind of held back here and just a little bit awkward for me. So at this point of the battle, I was like, fucking hell, it didn't work out very well, not at all. I wasn't able to get for some reason, I couldn't get my elephants out of this little mess. I got a couple through, but it just wasn't enough. So they're starting to rack up a couple of kills now, which is great. But I can't actually click attack orders with those units. So at the moment, I've got units that are routing. It's okay. A lot of these BAKTRIA Hillmen and Eastern Spearmen are going to come back into the fight. Over here, I'm just kind of overseeing this little glob of units. I want to make sure I can get rid of this cav, and especially the Soci Equites Extraordinary. So I do have a BAKTRIA Horse Archer up the back here that I may be able to get into this fight. These Eastern Slingers getting excellent shots in here on different units. This is their unshielded flanks, so it's going to be a little bit punishing on these armored legionnaires and that kind of thing. I have not used my Hellenic Cataphracts or my Bactrian Horse Archer at this point. I'm just waiting until the opportune moment, which is not now. So, got my Bactrian Horse Archer out the back. These guys are going to be crucial in taking out these Soci Equites Extraordinary. Going to start taking some shots here, which is great. I want to take those guys out of the fight as soon as possible, including the Legatus and these Velites. So, pretty good. My elephants are actually doing okay at holding up all these units while my Eastern Slingers take excellent shots in here. And they're actually doing a lot of damage at this point. 36 kills, 33, 31, 7. So this is what I was talking about before. My Bactrian Noble Horus are actually just harassing these units and preventing them from getting too far ahead of themselves. Now at this point you would be forgiving to think, oh man, Jujubear's in trouble. Yeah, and I agree. Pray for Juju. It's not going too well. It's not going to plan. And this was one of the battles where it did take a bit of a turn for the worse. Horrible stuff. I'm getting javelin there. But I am okay. I'm doing alright. If I can keep this up, it'll be okay. I've got mobility. I haven't got rid of the enemy's mobility, but I have got rid of a lot of it. And I do have my killing power left over, which is the Eastern Slingers and my Cataphracts. Bactrian Horse Archers, these guys have been pretty nice so far. 29 kills, a lot of them have been on the enemy cav so far, which is great. He is screening with these Gladiator Spearmen. He could see exactly what I'm doing. My opponent, he would be forgiven for kind of just running into this engagement and just kind of trying to take out the rest of my units. It's going to be a test of whether I have enough ammo left in the bag. So over here we can see one of his armored legionnaires is getting isolated, which is not good for him. He probably does not want that. These guys are not going to last long if they're unsupported like this. I'm getting some excellent shots into their flank, get a nice charge with my Bactrian Noble Horse. And I'm going to bring them out and get into these Legionary Cav before he can get into my slingers here. So I am able to hold them down, which is excellent, and I'm going to be able to get shots in here, unless he pulls through, which he actually may. Legionary Cav also coming out here. I'm going to have to block with these Bactrian Hillmen and my Bactrian Noble Horse. So this is what I mean. I really have to make sure I can get rid of his mobility, because it's going to cause me problems if he tries to get into my Eastern Slings, and he's pulling through at this point as well, which doesn't really make it any easier. So at this point, I'm actually happy to activate my auxiliary units, my Hellenic Cataphracts. These guys are punishing in late game, and my Bactrian Horse Archer. These guys are actually fairly decent. These guys, I remember there was a point where who was it? Blade Master was playing a lot with these Bactrian Horse Archers, and they are absolutely destroying people. Over here, Hellenic Cataphracts don't get the best charge, but I'm able to push him back out of my Eastern Slingers. My Bactrian Noble Horse over here has actually dealt with one of these Legionary Cav, and I'm going to be able to pull out from these Soci Equites Extraordinari and get a charge on these Legatus, hold them up for a little bit while the rest of my units get into combat. So, he's actually coming out of the forest, which is great. He's taking the bait and he's pulling out, and it means that I can kind of expose his flanks and get into some pretty juicy targets here. So over here where his cav is unsupported, I can actually do this kind of thing and take out different units around the field. Soci Equites Extraordinari getting destroyed, but he does have an armored legionnaire on the way, which is not good. Thankfully those guys don't have a bonus versus large, but this kind of thing, holy moly, mac and cheese, getting shots into the back of these armored legionnaires, getting a couple of kills on those eagle cohort as well. Bactrian Horse Archers, again, just sniping different units, just taking out the Soci Equites Extraordinari. So it's all going pretty well for me. I'm pretty happy. Eastern Slingers getting some good shots in here into the back of these units. Armored Legionnaires aren't going to stand up for too long. Auxiliary Infantry are a pretty juicy target. Don't know why I'm shooting at these Gladiators. I think I changed attack orders. Just going to go for a really cheeky, quick knockout with these Bactrian Noble Horse. These guys aren't going to be able to stand up to that kind of thing, and they don't have that bonus versus large, which is great. Going to take them out of the fight. He does manage to finish off one of my Bactrian Noble Horse, but look at the clumping that's happening. A lot of these units are taking a lot of damage from my Eastern Slingers because they are all clumped together and are starting to struggle. So you can see the balance of power is moving back in my direction, so just trying to keep the dream alive. The Bactrians are starting to believe. I'm going to make that the name of this video. Eagle cohort is getting shot in the back, so whenever I can get this opportunity to shoot an eagle cohort in the back, I'm going to take it, because these guys are very expensive and they are going to be pretty hard to defeat from the front. What am I shooting at now? I think at the moment I'm just shooting into the big mess of units and hoping to get a couple of kills, because I'm always going to get a couple of kills at least in that kind of situation. Over here I've got my Bactrian Horse Archer just finishing off this Legionary Cav. I don't think he noticed that he had this unit out here. So that's pretty much all of the units gone off the field for my opponent here. Now, the only way that this kind of build can work is if you use your units and their ammo sparingly. Like, if you turn off fire at will on these Eastern Slingers, they'll have ammo for days. Like, I've still got a fair bit of ammo on these Eastern Slingers, just because I've got fire at will turned off. And wherever he's got this attacking testudo activated, I'm just ignoring them. I'm not even going to bother shooting into these big blocks of units, because then you're not going to get any kills. They have something like 90% missile block chance or something ridiculous like that. So I'm just going to ignore those units. At this point, we've got a bit of a waiver happening in the center, which is great. He loses a couple of men, and look at the balance of power. It's starting to move in my direction. Going to take out his Legatus. My opponent, he kind of starts to figure that he's going to have to start doing something about this. I do get a nice charge in here with my Hellenic Cataphracts on those Armored Legionnaires. 179 kills on those guys, ridiculous. Managed to take them out of the fight as well. So two Velites are struggling with their... Oh my god. This is an absolute bloodbath in here. They are not having a good time at all. Velites and Gladiator Spearmen just not doing very well. Under the continued fire of my Bactrian Horse Archers and these Eastern Slingers. Punishing charge coming in here on these... oh my god. On these auxiliary infantry. Just knocking them all down. These guys do not stand a chance. Even though they do have a bonus versus infantry, it's not going to count for nothing if they're lying on the ground. Going to come in here for another charge with these Bactrian Horse Archers. These guys, as I mentioned before, they're actually pretty good in melee. So just going to come in here and finish off a couple of units. My opponent at this point is probably in disbelief, just like, what the fuck happened? Because he saw how far the balance of power was in the opposite direction. Looks like I'm going to take a nice charge on these Armored Legionnaires into their back, and all these units are on brace, so I'm going to get a lot of kills there. I didn't want to use, what's the ability? Trample. I did not want to use Trample, because it's just going to make them very tired, and I don't have the right general's ability to kind of deal with that. So, enemy unit that is not an attacking testudo, I'm going to be firing upon them with my Eastern Slingers. Over here, I think I'm going to try and like feint an attack. Yeah, there we go. He didn't really take the bait anyway, and he shouldn't really. These Eastern Slingers aren't going to do any damage on the charge. So how many kills? Hellenic Cataphracts 117, even though they've only been activated for a couple of hours now. And the rest of these Roman troops are suffering hardcore. You've got Eagle Cohort down to 12 men, just being peppered from all sides. I've got a nice surround happening, and we actually managed to take out that unit. It's at this point that I actually start to run out of ammo. I mean, if I was my opponent, you wouldn't be able to tell. So every time he goes into attacking testudo, I'm just going to charge in and break up his formation, make sure that he can't, you know, solidify his units. And I'm charging in from all sides here, probably ruining my own charge from these Hellenic Cataphracts, really. And I think that's probably gonna seal the deal there. So absolutely crucial. There we go. Costly victory for Jujubear. How's those fucking elephants though? Just losing those guys right at the start of the game. Stupid stuff. Only 52 kills. Don't know why I didn't get more kills on those guys, especially considering that I mean, I had them in a good spot, but for some reason they just couldn't get through, and while they were in a stagnant, they just weren't able to get any kills. So my opponent doing a great job at holding up those elephants and taking them out of the fight in the early game. But I guess that he probably thought that he had won the match as soon as he had killed off my not only my elephant, but my general as well. So you saw at that point when the elephant went down, some of my Eastern Slingers were starting to rout, but I got double XP chevrons on most of them. 247, 160, 211, 229 kills on all these dudes. But I think the MVPs of the match were probably the Bactrian Horse Archers. 209 kills, 213 kills in these guys, double XP chevrons on both. Absolutely amazing amounts of kills, and a lot of those kills came on some pretty important units, including the Legionary Cav and the Soci Equites Extraordinary, shooting these Eagle Cohort in the back, that kind of thing. Hellenic Cataphracts, probably expected them to get a lot more kills. I actually really expected to not have as many troops as I did at the end game, so very interesting to see that happen. But anyway, thank you so much, Zeal Mastodon, for the game. He was a good sport. At the end of the match, he said GG, well played, and all that kind of thing. I know people hate to play up against, you know, people who bring this kind of build, and I feel kind of dirty doing it as well, but it's just so much fun. Oh my god. End game, you know, you bring out your tools, your late game tools, your Hellenic Cataphracts and your Bactrian Horse Archers, and it's just like a beautiful thing. It's always a beautiful thing getting rear shots on Romans, and you guys know that I love that. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next battle. This is Jujubear signing out. Peace.